In 1940s, the beginning of a vision. The ministry that would become the Ukrainian Pentecostal Temple officially began in the late 1940s, but the vision was born even earlier. In the mid-1940s, amidst the growing Ukrainian community in Edmonton, a seed was planted. Reverend William Melanchuk, the superintendent of the Western Slavic Conference, arrived in the city with a vision to establish a place of worship, a sanctuary for Ukrainian people seeking fellowship and faith. The 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙦, the 𝘮𝑒𝑢𝑘, and the 𝑏randenburg families joined in this dream, setting the foundation for what would become a ministry that would touch the lives of thousands over the next 7 decades. In 1946, they purchased a small plot of land on 97th Street for $950, and by February 27th, 1949, after years of prayer and hard work and God's guidance, the church doors were officially opened. Reverend Buntain from the Central Tabernacle dedicated the building, and the vision of a thriving Ukrainian Pentecostal church in Edmonton was realized. The congregation was small, just 3 families, but their faith was big. Together, they formed the heart of Edmonton's first Ukrainian Pentecostal church, ready to serve, worship, and grow. The 1950s brought rapid growth as young Ukrainian families flocked to the city for new opportunities. The congregation expanded, and with it, the ministry's outreach. Reverend Melanchuk's heart for evangelism shone through as he launched the Voice of Life radio broadcast in 1945.
Даємо вам сердечне запрошення до церкви П'ятидесятниці, котра знаходиться під числом 10521 𝘮𝑒𝑚𝑐CA стріт, тут у Едмонтоні, де ми маємо дорогу науку недільної школи, 𝘮𝘮𝘭𝘵 для різного віка, ранішнє богослуження в 11 годині. І ми будемо мати нагоду мати і привілегію мати із нами брата Клименко із Австралії, які будуть промовляти Слово Боже до нас в 11 годині рано, як також і 7 година вечором. Просимо вас сердечно, як ви не йдете ніде до церкви, прийдіть до церкви П'ятидесятниці і будемо разом славити святе і Боже ім'я. А тепер ми вислухаємо пісню «У сей час».
This powerful radio ministry reached beyond Edmonton, touching lives and communities across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Hundreds of letters from listeners flooded in, attesting to the gospel's reach into even the most remote homes. Meanwhile, the church's Sunday school became a beacon of hope for local families, with buses transporting children from across the city. Creative contests like one offering a plane ride over the city kept the excitement alive for the next generation of believers. In 1957, the church played a crucial role in establishing a camp at Sandy Lake, providing a space for families and children to encounter God and the beauty of nature. That legacy continues today as Moose Lake Pentecostal Camp. By the 1960s and the 70s, the church had become a cornerstone in Edmonton's Slavic community. The youth groups flourished, choirs sang with passion, and the congregation continued to grow. But in 1974, the unexpected passing of Reverend Melanchuk deeply affected the community. Reverend Peter Kirichuk stepped into the leadership role, guiding the church through its next phase of growth. Under his leadership, the church expanded its facilities and underwent significant renovations, allowing for even more ministry opportunities. In 1978, the Alberta government recognized the church's commitment to community care by awarding them the opportunity to manage a seniors' home, the Vysoka Seniors' Home. This was a vital step in the church's outreach, serving the elderly with compassion and dignity. The 1980s and the 1990s were marked by both continuity and change. Under Reverend Edward Hidzik and Reverend Michael Brandenburg, the church adapted to new challenges while continuing to thrive. Youth programs remained vibrant. and choirs continued to bring the message of hope. These were the years of growth and transition as the radio ministry, once the lifeblood of outreach, came to a close in the late 70s, but the church's influence was far from over. Reverend Brandenburg, serving both as pastor and superintendent of the Western Slavic Conference, shepherded the church through a new era, welcoming waves of immigrants and fostering the development of young leaders. The church became a hub for Slavic families finding their new home in Canada. In 2008, a significant chapter closed as the church relocated from its historic home on 97th Street to its current location at Mill Creek Christian Assembly. It was a bittersweet move, but one that symbolized new beginnings for a growing congregation. The original building's legacy of outreach continued as it was rented and eventually sold to Evangel Pentecostal's Father's House Ministry. A new generation of worshipers took up the mantle, keeping the spirit of community and service alive.
Жизненный план в твоей руке, я не устану ждать.
Я просто дякую тобі за те, що не лишаєш мені. Я просто дякую тобі і молю. Я просто дякую тобі за те, що ти в моєму житті.
Under the leadership of Reverend 𝙎𝘖𝙫𝙬 𝙬𝙁, the church continued to be a beacon of faith in Edmonton. As we navigate new challenges and seize fresh opportunities, our congregation stands on the shoulders of those who came before us. The 2010s brought a renewed focus on meeting the diverse needs of our community, expanding our ministry to reach not only the Ukrainian-speaking members, but also the wider Edmontonian population. As we approach our 75th anniversary in 2024, a new chapter began with the appointment of Pastor 𝘵𝘐. After serving faithfully as assistant pastor since 2019, Nick and his wife, Natalia, were elected to lead Mill Creek Christian Assembly. Their vision for the church builds on the foundations laid by those who came before them, while bringing fresh energy and ideas to continue the legacy of faithfulness. Today, we celebrate 75 years of God's faithfulness. From the humble beginnings of few families, meeting in faith to a vibrant, growing community, the story of this church is one of perseverance, dedication, and unwavering trust in God's plan. As we look to the future, we remain committed to serving our community, loving our neighbors, and spreading the message of hope through Christ. This is our story, a story 75 years in the making. With God's grace, we believe that the best is yet to come.